How's it hanging, YouTube? Peter here, your Ginger Geordie Geek. Welcome back to the channel for another This Is My. If you've not seen the show before, this is the show where I meet a guest, a fella collector, a person who enjoys either comic books, toys, whatever it may be, and we do a bit of an interview and a catch-up. We'll talk about what's in their collection, and we also get to see some of the stuff they've got hidden in their private collection. So tonight, I'm very pleased to say tonight's guest is Rich from Reviews with Rich. How are you, sir?
Good, man. How are you?
Very good, very good. Looking forward to this, Rich. So
Me too.
It's fair to say that I met you probably through some colleagues, Ben and the Attention Seeking Geek and whatnot, and we kind of touched base a little bit at Star Wars Celebration earlier in the year.
We did. We shared a pint at one point.
Yeah.
While we were waiting for everybody to join the dinner that
That's
no one
right.
turned up to for a very long time.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And it was lovely catching up with you and meeting somebody, in person. Now, you are a big collector. I know you're a big Star Wars fan. I know you're a movie fan, predominantly. But I also know that you're a bit of a music fan. So I'm looking forward to picking your brains a little bit about that later on as well.
Yes.
Before we get on with the show, Rich, I just want to quickly jump into what's coming up or what has been on my channel recently. So as I've said, tonight we're here to talk to Rich and get to know him a little bit. It's a stunning image. I love it. So earlier in the week, we did this week's comics. This was myself and Phil from Phil's Nerdiverse. We caught up and talked about all things comic book related that had happened over the last month. Last week. Some really interesting comics. Rich, I know you're a big Star Wars fan. Do you read comic books as well, Rich?
Yeah, that's how I started my love of pop culture, really. I've always loved comics. I've always collected them. I've got a huge collection of graphic novels. I've got 300-400 graphic novels.
Wow.
It's something that I basically had all the good intentions. I collected them for years and years and years. And then when I got into like my early 30s, I decided to collect them properly, like go to Forbidden Planet and get some and go to the local comic book shops and stuff. And I always get number one. And then I always miss the next one, and I miss the next one, and I get the fifth one, and I get the seventh one, or something like that. And then so I just thought, sod it, I'm just gonna go out and get the comic book, the story arcs. So I started doing that, and I'd always been getting the trade paperbacks and the hardcovers. I especially like the hardcovers. Big Star Wars, big Star Wars less so much at the minute, but more Batman and DC and a lot of Marvel as well. Some really good comic book runs, including that Daredevil and stuff like that. So how do you usually read your comics? Is it Comixology? What is it?
So I'm much like you. I've been a comic book collector since the age of 14, and I kind of drifted away from regular comic books around New 52 because I decided that was shit. And I started doing what you do. I buy books mainly in trade paperback. But more recently, I've discovered online comic books, so Comixology and all that kind of stuff, and it's helped us to read a lot more stuff rapidly. So I find that's quite a useful process to use. Star Wars books, Rich, I would recommend you pick up Dark Droids. I'm not a massive Star Wars comic book fan. This is a book basically about a computer virus, a sentient virus that infects all of the droids in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's some amazing early scenes with a couple of droids basically taking out a Death Star. Not a Death Star, sorry, a destroyer.
Star Destroyer, yeah.
Yeah, ejecting them from kind of the airlocks and things, and it's really
I like
cool.
that sounds really cool. Yeah.
Worth reading.
I used to read a lot of stuff when it was Dark Horse as well, the comics before obviously they took them on. But I've collected comics since I was about 8 or 9, something like that, really young, and then I kind of like dipped and all that kind of stuff as we all do. But it's something I still love, and the art for me is the biggest thing. It's just obviously it's just absolutely stunning. Absolutely. It always disappoints me though that I don't know if you find this. Sorry to derail your intro.
No.
But I always find that it's really disappointing when you have this amazing front cover and then you open it up and it's nothing like it's inside, and it's just a trace of somebody else, a famous actor or whatever. I'm like,
that's a really good point, Rich, because that's something that does frustrate me slightly. That cover artists have become a massive thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you say, you regularly get a cover artist, beautiful bit of artwork on the front, and then the insides are just crap. you know,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
switches it off straight away from. Did this on Monday with some of my good pals on YouTube. This was a spotlight on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We talked all about their history, media appearances, merchandise, and recommended some reading on the Turtles. We also touched on the latest Turtle animated movie, which is phenomenal. Not sure if you've caught up with that one yet, Rich?
I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it. I love the Turtles. Me and my brother absolutely loved them when they first came out. I never got a chance to read the original comics because obviously they were a lot darker. But we got the original toys when they first came out. Literally within the first week, we went to like Toys R Us at Parkgate and stuff, and we went and we just got them, and it's just So I'm assuming they are somewhere in my parents' loft, but I reckon they'd be worth some money now, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Some of the originals are really pricey. I would recommend you catching the movie if you can. So bold statement from me here, and I know it was shared by a couple of the guys on the show. I enjoyed Turtles more than I enjoyed Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's I mean, slightly controversial, but you know, I thought it was a phenomenal.
What's your opinion? No, it's great.
Well worth checking out. If you're into 1/6 scale action figures, please do check out some of my content for unboxing videos. Today's video that's just gone out is a 1/6 scale Colossus figure. So that's out today. I share hosting duties with Ben the Attention Seeking Geek on our 1/6 scale news show, which we do every few weeks, and we rotate it on each other's channels. So check that one out as well. Shout out as ever to the UK live stream community. This week in Metropolis on a Tuesday, the Nerd Herd on a Wednesday. They're doing Flashpoint next Wednesday, so please make sure you check that out. Killer Comic Show on a Thursday. They're doing a deep dive on the Mighty Thor tonight when we're finished at 9 o'clock. So can't wait to check that out. That will be fun. And the Grey Man on a Saturday. If you like this kind of show, if you like This Is My, these are the last 4 I've done. I'm doing quite a lot of these now. So we had Doug Brayton, who is a writer on Isolation. We had one of the best horror writers around, John Lees, talking to a little while ago, and we had 2 toy enthusiasts in Aaron from Empire Toys and Shane, the 1/6 figure focus gentleman. So both of those shows are there for you to check out on my channel. Okay, Rich, just before we jump in, going to quickly jump to the chat and say hello to whoever's here. We've got good old StreamYard. Thank you for joining. We've got The Empire Strikes Back. Thank you very much for joining, my friend. And we've got Sean. Always a pleasure, Sean. We've got Pad Bear. Nice of you to join. Thank you, bud. We've got GP Venom. GP Venom's a pal of mine, and we do a comic book review show over on his channel. Please do go check out was it just last night or was it Tuesday? I can't remember. Tuesday's show where we reviewed Fathom. I mean, go and check out the show, but I'll save you some time. The book's dog shit. It was horrendous. But it's water boobies, Rich, is what the book's about. Okay. Just boobs in water. So, you know, which sounds far better than it actually is. Kenneth, nice to see you, my friend. Always a pleasure. We've got Ben, the Attention Seeking Geek. Hope you're well, Ben. And I hope things are good at home at the moment. We've got Shiny. No, yeah. I mean, I can't disagree.
He's not far off, yeah.
Yeah. And we've got James T. Keegan. Hey buddy. Indeed, James. And we've got my pal Fuzzy Dunlop. Always a pleasure to see you, Fuzzy. We've got 17 people watching. Please do us a favor. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But Rich's channel is currently on 994 subscribers. So he needs 6 more subscribers to hit that 1,000 mark. I would be over the moon if we could get him some subs tonight. So if you're not subscribed, please do go check out his channel.
Thank you, everybody, in advance.
Okie dokie, Rich. I've prattled on enough. Let's find out a little bit about you. I'm going to start you off with a really, really nice, easy question. All right? Tell a little bit about yourself. What got you into collecting, and then what got you into YouTube? What made you start up a YouTube channel?
All right. I'll keep it brief because I can go on all day. Collecting. I've always collected something in some way or form. Toys when I was younger, with my brother, VHS. Again, back in the day, a lot of film memorabilia, a lot of stuff that I collected, comics, just collected everything. Anything that I was passionate about, I collected, and I absolutely adored doing that. And then there was a period of time when it got in my 20s, went to uni and had girlfriends and stuff like this, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I thought I'd kind of outgrown it. And then I went back to it for one reason and another. I kind of realized that I was probably down the wrong path, and I basically changed my perspective on life, shall we say.
Okay, right.
I wasn't very well for a bit. I had cancer.
Oh, I didn't know that. Sorry to hear
But
that.
yeah. Not to bring the vibe down, but yeah, I was fortunate that it wasn't really, really serious, but it had spread a little bit. So we had operations and stuff like that, and it kind of gave me a bit of a kick up the arse I needed, really, to be honest with you. I was all flash and no substance, and just being honest, and and then kind of like, and then I had a bit of time just kind of thinking about what I wanted to do and what I loved and what I didn't love and things like that, and I kind of moved away from certain circles in terms of just friendships and stuff, some of them, and then other ones where I really gravitated towards more and more of who knew me as a person rather than rich. Version. So then I started then collecting a couple more things. I started my collection journey again by buying a bust, and it was a 1/4 scale bust that was from Hot Toys, and it was the Mark III. So around the time, obviously, of the first Iron Man. So it was about 2010, I think I got that. And then suddenly, I was collecting a lot of like the graphic novels and stuff, and I was doing a lot of drawing as well. I do a lot of drawing. It's been a while since I've probably done it. And I absolutely love the comic book art and really, really invested in that and really adored that. And then I found premium format statues. So sideshow premium format. Got my first ever one, which was the Batman 1989, which is a stunning piece, which is here. Is one of my favorite pieces of all time, and I absolutely adore it, not only because I adore the films, but also because it's a really cool piece. And I had my little own man cave for a while. We have since moved, and we've got a daughter, and it's literally, this room is my conservatory. So I don't have much in terms of art out or books that I have out, including a lot of my more precious Hot Toys, because I'm afraid of them getting sun damaged or just because it's really hot in here today. So I have to be very careful with what I put out. And this is like just basically select piece what I have at the moment. But so then I did that, and then so I was always collecting, and then someone I used to work with, he introduced me then to Hot Toys, and I started collecting Hot Toys, and I went ridiculous on that for a bit. And then COVID hit, and my daughter was born just before COVID, and I just kind of like had a bit of a thing. Okay, I can sell a lot of these because I'm not really feeling them as much. And I went in a bit of a love-hate relationship with some collectibles. I didn't have a display or anything like that because, like I said, it's my family home. So I was very reluctant to put anything out. So I kept it all in storage, and because I never took it out of the box, I wasn't in love with anything. So I was kind of like, get rid. And I'd make my money back, and I just constantly keep flipping it. And I basically started with a fund of £500, and I just basically kept that figure in my mind. If I went anything less than that, so if I bought quite a few things and I sold things and I top it up to 500, I'd then get something else. And then I'd always keep doing that, and I've always done that. Really, I've always been very mindful of that because it's very easy to get carried away.
Absolutely,
And then with my YouTube channel, I initially had a couple of failed starts, one of which was during lockdown. So I basically, the day of Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, I bought a mic and I filmed it on my phone where I did a review about Justice League, and basically just waffled. I had no substance, no nothing that I kept saying substance. But I didn't really know what to say. I was just very much going on just my immediate thoughts. I didn't really process them properly or really know what I was really saying. I wasn't very good on camera. And so I basically looked at it back and went, it's not for me. See you later. And just sacked it off. Mm-hmm. And then post-pandemic, I was working more from home. I started building up what I've got behind me now. And I thought it'd look really cool if I started doing something again. So then when the cinemas opened up again, I decided to start doing my film reviews. And my first one was Shang-Chi. And then I did,
yeah.
and then I did like No Time to Die because I'm a massive James Bond fan, and so things like that. And I went through a period of time of where it was very much a learning process. I am fairly tech savvy, but sometimes you realize that you're not that savvy when it comes to the latest technology and stuff. So so then I started doing that, started filming stuff, and then I started doing some of the 1/6 stuff, and I was appearing on a lot of 1/6 shows, including my buddy Leal, 1/6 scale man. He invited me on to one of his shows, and I ended up being on for like 6-8 months, nearly every Sunday, which was brilliant, a great learning experience. But then, no disrespect to anybody in that community, but I kind of got bored. I was bored by not the people on it or anything like that. I'm not saying anything like that, but basically it was just okay, we talked about head sculpts, we talked about how likeness, we talked about it being 8.5 or whatever, all this stuff. What do you think Howard Chan's going to do next? All this kind of stuff. I was like, okay, I've done that. I've checked out. And my love of 1/6 dwindled massively. And I kind of thought, right, okay, I need to kind of decide what I'm going to do and focus more on the film. So I started doing Film Club, which is one of my favorite things that I've ever done, which is basically we talk about a film, whether it be a recent film or a classic film, and I'm there like with yourself. We did Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and then we did a better film, which was Mission Impossible. And
just by a little touch, just a little bit,
yeah. And so we do live streams with that, and I really, really enjoy that. And that's where I'm kind of going more and more. So again, that's the short version.
Tremendous,
tremendous. It's the short version. So there you go. That's me and my channel.
Rich, you've mentioned a lot of interesting little things. I'll just pick you up on a few things. So first of all, thank you for sharing some of the stuff from your past. I don't know if I've told you this or not, but I'm a cancer nurse by trade.
No way.
Yeah, so it's incredible how many people have these episodes, scares, and it really does kind of reset things. So I am very pleased that it's kind of worked for you in terms of putting you on a track that you're on now, which is obviously a really successful track. So that's great to hear.
Yeah, no, it's always been something that I think I've had it 4 or 5 times now, where it's come back, and it's come in the most random times in my life. And it's kind of, but yeah, I have a very different outlook. And I am very different in terms of how honest I am and how I'm more aware of who I am as a person.
Absolutely.
It kind of recalibrates you a little bit as well. I wouldn't recommend people just having it to do that.
No.
Just to have a word with yourself first.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think it's but I didn't know you did that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
For that, man. I didn't know.
The other thing you mentioned, which really piqued my interest, is that you're a bit of an artist. I didn't know that. So I do a show called, I've forgotten the bloody name of this show. Someone help us out in the chat. Geek Art Attack, where we get a whole host of artists on screen. I'm saying artists. You know, some of them are very good. Some of them, like myself, are shocking. And we get challenged to draw images in 3-4 minutes. So you're more than welcome to join on that.
I'd be well up for that. Yeah. I'm a little bit rusty, but one thing I did forget to say in terms of my channel, on my personal Instagram for years and years and years, I used to write reviews on my personal Instagram, and I used to write them, and I used to put them out on my Facebook and stuff like that. And people would go, "Oh, you should do something with that," and I go, "Yeah," and then I never did, and then obviously now I do. So it's quite funny that's happened. So yeah,
absolutely.
It was a funny little circumstance.
The other thing that you mentioned is the kind of and I know you've no disrespect to any of the people you've worked with or anything like that, but there is something to be said about repetition. I think that if you're on the same show week after week doing the same thing, it does become a bit repetitive. So it's nice to mix it up at times, isn't it?
It becomes a bit of an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Where you kind of, because there's so many people on a panel traditionally, you're kind of going through and you say your little tidbits and you're trying to make a little bit of a joke or something like that, and then you go on to the next guy. And sometimes it's kind of, after a while, you're like, does it matter if I'm here or not? Kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of things like where sometimes I have random takes of things, my opinion on certain things, and they are my opinion.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you kind of find yourself, okay, am I saying what everyone else wants me to hear? What they want to hear, sorry. So yeah, I think it was important for me to go through that and have that, not like it was a massive journey or anything, but just I really enjoyed doing that, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity for someone to kind of give me that platform initially. But yeah, it was just nice for me to move away from it and go, okay, I've done that. I still like it, but I'm not going to talk about it everywhere.
Yeah,
that makes
absolutely.
sense.
Absolutely. Just going to quickly jump into the chat here. James T. Keegan, Rich, I'll be posting your Claire autograph this week.
Thank you very much. Story behind that. So basically, Mr. Sunday Movies, who has a massive YouTube channel, his wife is, and also Weekly Planet, which I've been a fan for nearly 10 years. Basically, his wife, Claire, is a brilliant musician, and James T. Keegan met her and got an autograph. And the autograph said, "I'm married, bitch," which is a thing that basically is a reference to when I said to James, the Mr. Sunday Movies, hey, there's this piece of news, and then a fake account said, "I'm married, bitch." And so that became a thing on the show, was like a bit of a thing. So there you go. It's just, that's a bit of a story behind that.
Good stuff. Good. And James, I know when he went to stay here to get that photo, because he sent us the picture at 3 a.m. He was hyper, absolutely hyper. Fuzzy subbed up just now. Fabulous.
Oh,
thank you so much,
very
Fuzzy.
much, Fuzzy.
Just for anybody that's late and has joined, we've got 18 people watching. Please do go and sub up reviews with Rich. He's very, very close to that 1,000 mark. So it'll be lovely to get him a few subs tonight. We've got our pal Ian. Hi, guys. In our Joker looking lovely behind you. Yeah, Rich has just been showing off his fancy cabinets as well. It's a stunning figure. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But look, they look amazing, mate. They look stunning.
Thank you.
We've got Werewolf by Lunchtime here. Thank you very much for joining, my friend. 3:13 in Perth. Wow. Rico the cat woke me up. I'm so awake watching YouTube. Luckily, no work tomorrow. Good stuff. Well, stick with us, man. Stick with us. Yeah. Fuzzy, the review was probably better than the actual Justice League. Yeah. I mean, you might not be wrong there, Fuzzy mind. I have to say, you might not be wrong. Fuzzy's also saying, same issue with 1/6 figures. I can only discuss rooted hair and crotch grabbers so many times before switching off. Yeah, I agree, Fuzzy. Obviously, Fuzzy's not referring to my show there, Fuzzy. Yeah?
No, of course not.
No, okay, good stuff. We've got Highland G. Always a pleasure to see you, Highland G. Thank you very much for joining. Highland G, I know you're a fan of movies and of action figures, so please go over and hit that subscribe button on Reviews with Rich, because you'll love his content. I'm confident of that.
Thank you very much.
We've got Shiny. Rich will draw a unique picture for each subscriber, he said. Yeah.
I am going to do a giveaway at some point, though, to my subscribers, so that'll be nice. Good. I won't be drawing, though.
Okay, Rich, let's have a look at your first item. Now, you've sent us in some slides, so let's have a look at the images. Look at that. Look at that Batman. That's phenomenal. Tell me a little bit about that one first.
So the Batman, I had a 1/3 scale Prime 1. It was the Arkham Knight Batman that I really liked, but I didn't love it. And I wanted to sell it, and I put it up and didn't get many bites. And then I saw this on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy said he wanted like 1,200 quid for it. And I was like, Jesus Christ, okay. Whew, I don't think I can get that.
Yeah.
But I said to him cheekily, would you take a part trade with cash? And he said, yeah, I would. So basically I'd offered up the Arkham Batman, which I got for like 400 or 500 quid anyway. So I was already okay, in a good position. And then I met him at the Tamworth service station, which is halfway for me and him. And I rocked up. He's got this huge box, 2 massive boxes. And then I've got this little box with a wad of cash. And he goes, you haven't got a shipper for that, have you? Like that. And I went, no. And he went, oh, mate, I don't think I could do it now. Like that. And I went, for a shipper, because he wanted the shipper box to go with the art box. It came with this bust and stuff like this.
So just, sorry to interrupt you, Rich, but just for those that perhaps aren't used to 1/6 scale figures or statues, you get your fancy, nice looking art box, and then you basically get a brown outer cardboard box called a shipper. Now, most people chuck them away. Not a lot of people keep them, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah.
So this guy was kicking off because you didn't have the brown. So it's
kicking off. Box. So he was going to walk away from the deal if I didn't produce a shipper, which essentially is a brown paper box. And it was like, I'd obviously hyped myself up. I was going to get something that I absolutely adore. It's a Jim Lee piece and all this kind of stuff like this. And I was like, oh my God. And I almost begged him in the middle of the car park. Look, man, I'll give you an extra 20 quid. We'll do this. Well, and he ended up going, go on then. And that was it. Anyway, so then I came home and I ended up taking my wife's car to pick it up and I couldn't fit it in. So I ended up doing a 45-minute drive with some of these like massive, like I basically couldn't close the boot because it was that big.
Yeah.
I had to put all the seats down, all this kind of stuff like this, and then I had to basically hold the boot down a little bit, like reach back and try and like hold it and stuff with like a seatbelt and that, because it was that big. And this piece is like one of my all-time
behind you there,
things.
isn't it?
Yeah, this is it here.
Let us make you big. I'm not good with the technology, so bear with us. There we are.
See that?
It's huge, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 1/3 scale. So the Keaton one, which is here, is 1/4 scale, and that's 1/3. So yeah, so they are going to be releasing it in 1/4 scale. So to be a bit more in keeping for people who've got a little space. But yeah, this will be my one and only 1/3 scale. I think it's just so good. It's so good. And I was kind of conscious at one point of being too Batman heavy with a lot of my collection, because literally it was just a whole plethora of just Batman stuff, because it's more easily accessible than a lot of other heroes. There's a lot more stuff out there and a lot more cool stuff. So yeah, that's an absolute price piece and I absolutely adore it. There is an issue though with the bats. You have these bats that you kind of put on his shoulder, and sometimes they fall off and stuff like that. So I tend to just take them off. But there's like an LED like intruder monitor thing that lights up and his back is changing. But there's stuff like that. It's just really cool. It's absolutely massive. It's chunky as. It's so big.
Looks
ridiculous.
And it's that classic Jim Lee design, isn't it? I mean, that's iconic. Blue and grey. It just looks amazing.
From Hush. Yeah, can't get any better than that. So this Catwoman. So bit of backstory. The Keaton Batman I had before. So the one I've got here, I sold it because I was going before my wedding and I had to sell a couple of things up. You know, it is before the wedding. They're like, oh, we need to pay for this person. I'm like, forgot about them, like that kind of thing. So I sold a lot of my stuff. And then, so I always regretted it. And I was kind of like, oh, bloody hell, like this. And I randomly went on Facebook Marketplace and I saw the Batman statue, the one I'd sold. And this guy in Wales was selling for really cheap. And I just said to him, have you got anything else? And he said, yeah, I've got this Catwoman statue. Sent me a picture. I'm like, that's nice. My wife won't like it, but I like it. And I've got a tumbler. I'm like, oh, brilliant. And I've got a Bane, Hot Toys Bane. I said, how much we looking? £500.
What?
So I bought 2 premium format statues, a 1/3 scale tumbler, and a Hot Toys Bane for £500, and I sold them, apart from my Batman, because I kept my Batman, sold the tumbler for £400, sold Bane for £200, sold Catwoman for £250. So I was well up on profit. Wow. And what happened was, because it was in Wales, my buddy Luke, I said, look, if I give you some money, could you pick it up for me and I'll meet you like at Bristol Services?
Yeah.
Oh, my dodgy dealings in service, I just realized. And then so basically I drove down one day, took the day off work and met him, got the stuff, put it all in the car, shot back, and then I sold loads of other stuff because I was like, this is really cool, but I can sell it on. And that's how I always have tended to do. I've always been a bit of a wheeler dealer, hustler kind of thing in that kind of way. Yeah,
you've got to, haven't you, to fund the hobby, because these are not cheap pieces. You know, these are expensive things.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, like, if I was to go, I'm going to spend £1,200 on a statue, I wouldn't be able to get anything else.
Yeah.
So I've had to do it by buying and selling stuff to build up a bit of a collectibles fund. My collection has paid for my collection. So yeah, that's how I've always done it. So I've always had a bit of a way about me to kind of like buy and sell. Well, I'll make £200 profit on that and things like that, just to kind of just keep it ticking over. Because otherwise I'd just stop. I mean, absolutely. It's not as fun. But yeah,
some stunning pieces there. I'm absolutely jealous of the Batman. I don't have any statues. I used to collect, I don't know if you remember bone design busts. They did Marvel character statues. I had a lot of them. But
all right.
that's done. Just quickly looking at
that Hulkbuster behind you is pretty much a statue anyway. It's amazing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it doesn't do a lot of moving, not a lot of articulation in it. Just quickly jump to the chat before we move on. Fuzzy, obviously not your shows, Peter. Well saved, Fuzzy. Well saved. Batman statue is insane. Absolutely is, mate. Absolutely. Kenneth just saying hello. Shiny, basically saying the guy got a good deal. I think you're probably right, Shiny. And he walked away with what he wanted at the end of the day. Yeah. We've got Comic Journey saying good afternoon. Thank you for joining Comic Journey. Please do go check out Comic Journey's YouTube channel. It's always a fun show. I watched him a little bit this morning. So yeah, please do check that out. Okay, Rich. Now, this is the question I get grief for most. And you, as a film buff, I'm sure will struggle with this one. I think. So I want one favorite film. All right. So
Godfather.
Easy. You see, everybody else always twists and say, "Oh, I can't pick just one film."
Yeah. Well, I can't traditionally, but just Godfather changed a lot for me in terms of my love of cinema, and I've always loved film since I was very little, and very much what got you on the big teller. It's cheers, Ash. He's just been watching Maverick. So that's one of my favorite films of late as well. But yeah, Godfather for me, the performance of Marlon Brando and Pacino and everybody else like that is just amazing. That film for me is just absolutely timeless. It's a film that whole trilogy. I know the third one's not that great, but the first two are just absolutely stellar cinema. And it's sad to say. I think it might change soon, but I think more films like that need to be made.
Yeah,
just that real heart and quality of acting and talent that's in it. Just amazing. My favorite film, my favorite modern film, has been Top Gun Maverick. But then there's stuff like Unforgiven, Tombstone, Elvis, the film from last year. That absolutely broke me. That was unbelievable. So there's a lot of really amazing films, obviously like Dark Knight and stuff like that, but that's kind of cliche. Just like for me, The Godfather is always the one that I would always go back to.
And it's interesting because obviously I've done your show reviews with Rich a couple of times now, and I've heard you speak about movies a lot. And we spent a bit of time talking about the latest Indiana Jones film, which should have been phenomenal.
Classic, yeah.
But sadly, it wasn't. And a lot of the films you've just talked about there, your Godfathers, Maverick even, didn't rely on computer-generated effects. It was practical effects. It was, not a lot of green screen or kind of jazz. Do you think that the reliance on CGI is kind of diluting the good storytelling a little?
I think it has. I think it has for a very long time. I think spectacle over substance, over heart, over talented storytelling. You just got to think of Secret Invasion, the show we've just watched, cost $220 million. It cost more than House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon looked unbelievable and was a fantastic show because it's so well written and it was just so well developed and everything. That's one example. What I hope with Hollywood, they're realizing that they don't need to spend $300 million on a movie. Because at the moment, when they spend $300 million on a movie, they have to make at least double that back just to make their money. Because they spend that again on marketing.
Yeah.
So they're spending $600 million before they even get before anybody walks in. So they have to get that back. And a lot of times, if they know word of mouth and stuff that the film's no good, they don't make that money back. And then the studio loses money because they just got an infinite pot of money. And I think what's going to happen is what happened in the 60s. So what happened in the 60s where there was a lot of big spectacle, big westerns, big dance numbers, big productions, and that was cost the studio so much money.
Yeah.
And it was the advent of television where there was a strike, and this is very similar to what's happening now. And basically, studios then had to take a step back with the investment and instead focused on smaller movies and smaller stories. So the stuff like French Connection and all those kind of films came out in the 70s, Serpico and things like that. And those kind of classic films came out of that massive, big 60s extravaganza to go into the 70s when it was a lot darker in tone. And obviously that was post Vietnam and all this kind of stuff like that.
Mhm.
But it's just going to be, I hope it's going to be very similar. I hope there's not going to be war, but like, I think there's just kind of that turn in Hollywood is going to start happening. And I think the reliance on franchise and IP is hoping to change as well, because realizing things like Oppenheimer, even though I didn't adore it as much as most people did, you can get somebody who is a director with real vision, who doesn't spend that much money on a big film, and get bums on seats. So I think I'm hoping that happens more and more.
Yeah.
And I think as well, a bit more of a focus, when we spoke about this before, about focus on the story and focus on the actors and get you get the best out of the actors. With Indiana Jones, prime example, we had something. Harrison Ford is an unbelievable actor. He knows Indy like the back of his hand. It's his favorite character to play, and he was okay in it. He was best he could be in it, but the film was shit.
Yeah,
and it could have been a $50 million film. He could have spent $50 million on it, and it could have been a nice smaller adventure that could have been a nice way to say bye to the character. And he could have reconnected with her and all this kind of stuff, like all that kind of stuff, or reconnected with his son, or done something really cool, and had been a really nice story. And I think a lot more people would have gone and flocked to that. But instead, they relied too much on the CGI, and it was blatantly obvious he was running across the train. It wasn't him, and taking away what was magic before, which was that real practical stunt. But
the practical effects.
So, I'm hoping there's going to be a change. Yeah, definitely.
I'm the same, mate. Just quickly jump into the chat here. Comic Journey's talking about there not being many movies like Godfather anymore because of all of the agendas within Hollywood. Ash, latest Black Panther is a great example of CGI taking priority over storyline. Yeah, I would agree with that as well, mate. Fuzzy, green screen isn't going to be the issue in future. AI is the real issue. Oof, yeah, absolutely. That's the scary thing coming. Well, it's not coming around the corner, is it? It's here. Highland G, I prefer something lower budget like John Wick, the first one, over CGI fest movies. Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. I really love the John Wick series. I know the third one got a bit of grief for it being completely unrealistic, but the fun, they are fun.
They are incredible
popcorn movies, you know. I haven't got a hot toy John Wick. He's on my list. Fuzzy, there was an amazing group of directors come around all at once, like Coppola, Scorsese. Yeah, it was a moment in time where we've rarely seen since. Absolutely agree. Oh, we've got Werewolf by Lunchtime saying CGI equals lazy. Yeah, I can't disagree with that, mate. I think there's such a heavy reliance on it. I don't know if you saw that image, Rich, of Samuel L. Jackson, where the CGI'd even the handgun he was using instead of using a practical effect. It was just, it was pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Yeah, it was bizarre. Anyway, moving on. Let's look at some more things. Let's talk about a statue that represents, in my opinion, one of the greatest movies of all time, and without doubt, and I'll get grief, without doubt, the best Batman of all time.
Agreed.
Yeah. Tell me about this, mate.
So this is the picture on the right is the first iteration when I first had it, and the one on the left is the latest iteration, which is here, which is the one I got in the bundle. So it's exactly the same. It's my first ever big collectible, and is next to it is a present from my brother, which is a Michael Keaton signed poster from Batman Returns. Also one of my prized possessions. I've got that behind some museum glass in my storage unit, and basically won't get affected with UV and all that kind of stuff. And this piece is stunning. I absolutely adore it. It was something that it was the only thing I've ever regretted selling, and then obviously I ended up getting it later on, which was amazing. And it's just a representation of my initial love into foray, I guess, into comic book films. This film was on heavy rotation for us as I was growing up, and this and Returns, I know it inside out. I know these two films inside out. These are some of my all-time favorite films. If you ask me, like, if it was in my top 5, this would be one of them. I absolutely adore Batman '89, and Michael Keaton is just unbelievable. That's why I just think he's just so. He was done wrong, I think, with the film. He was amazing in it, but it's a shame that the film was no good. Did you know, by the way, because we're going to cover this on the Flash, but did you know that the reason why he was the way he was in the Flash? Check out this. So Andy Muschietti, the director, and I think he was the co-writer on the Flash, he came up with a story of basically Michael Keaton stop crime fighting, not Michael Keaton, but Bruce Wayne, stop crime fighting because he ended up killing a criminal in front of that person's child.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
And then he retired because of it. Yeah. Why was that not in the film?
Yeah, it would have been phenomenal.
It would be phenomenal.
You know what?
Piece of that, it would have been amazing. It would have been
the thing that really irks me is that, well, one, he was done dirty because they scrapped that Batgirl movie, didn't they? And he was meant to feature in that. So that was binned. We then get The Flash, which I think we both agree is a travesty of a movie.
Yes.
Michael Keaton probably being the only decent, or one of the decent bits in it. My understanding is that had that been anywhere near a success, which it was never going to be because of the people attached to it, we're going to get a Batman Beyond with Keaton playing the older. I would have lost my shit at that because I love the character of Batman Beyond.
Me too.
The thought of Keaton in that role would have been phenomenal.
It would have been unbelievable. It would have been unbelievable. Yeah, it really would. I mean, like, essentially the old guard of Warner Brothers, it was going to be the release dates were very, very different. It was going to be the Flash, like, way before a lot of the other ones that came out. Like, it was going to be around the same year as the Batman, so 2021.
Yeah, a couple of years back now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the same because it was going to be the year of the Batman.
Yeah,
we were supposed to get the Flash, and we were supposed to get the Batman, and we only just got the one of them. And and then what was going to happen at the end of it? Bruce was going to be there as Keaton, and Sacha Cohen, who's going to be Supergirl, and they were that was going to be the universe. They were going to carry on with that then. So basically, Bruce was going to recruit people and stuff like that to form a Justice League, and then Batgirl was going to fall from that. Apparently, it was no good, but I like the directors though. They did Bad Boys 3. They did a really good job with that. So disappointing.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing. So just a quick question then. Out of the two, Batman Returns, which is your favorite?
Batman.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, I love DeVito. In it. I think it's phenomenal.
I do. Yeah. There's not enough Batman in Batman Returns.
Yeah. Batman just holds a very special place in my heart, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. Next question. Have you got a claim to fame? Have you ever met anybody famous, or have you been on TV or anything like that? Have you got a claim to fame? Whilst you're thinking, I'll just quickly check out what 12 by Lunchtime is saying. More of a Dark Knight fan myself. Never understood the hero worship for 89. I saw it twice at the cinema. The second time was because I hoped it was better than the first. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, mate. Yeah, but and I don't know if it's a for me, it's a nostalgia thing because I remember, the excitement at the time of it coming out because I was just turning 13 when it was released.
Wow.
Not 12, I think. And they changed the grading so you could see it at 12 or something.
Yeah.
Because it was a 15 originally. So it's got a very special place in my.
I think for me though, I think as a Batman fan, as you can tell, but like I love Dark Knight and Batman equally.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both. You can love both. I've watched Dark Knight more than I've watched most films, to be honest. But it's just got to do it, haven't you? So claim to fame. That's the question. No, my brother is an actor, so he has all the claim to fame. He's met Tom Hardy, Tom Cruise, loads of people. He's constantly doing that, where he's like, I'll send it like back in the day and stuff. He sent me pictures and stuff, which is amazing. But I've had a couple of random celebrity encounters, one of which I think is quite funny. So me and my wife, when she was pregnant, we went to see Dieter Von Teese. Took her to London, and we got some amazing seats, and it was just amazing. Anyway, to turn around and Nigella Lawson's there, so I'm like, hey, looking nice. So I've got Dieter Von Teese, I've got my lovely wife, obviously, and I've got Nigella Lawson behind me. Anyway, so the show hadn't started by this point, so I'm like, I'm going to take a cheeky little picture and show the lads. Took a picture, they fucking clocked me, didn't they? And her daughter is like this. By looking and she had a face like a smacked ass all performance. So when we all walked out at the same time, I was literally stood next to Nigella Lawson, which is something that back in the day would have been amazing. And she just throwing nothing but daggers at me. So that was one thing. And I have me and my brother went to called it was an experience or was an evening with Mel Gibson. We went to that a couple of years back. It was like a black tie do. My brother got to meet Mel then and got a picture with him, but it was like a proper do where it was black tie event, and so we got to sit there and he was basically talking for a couple of hours, and that was amazing, talking about his career. And in October, I'm going to the Royal Albert Hall where I'm going to see Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's going to be there talking for a couple of hours. And me and my brother, he's treated me to go there, so we're going to go there together. So that's going to be amazing. Yeah, and I've randomly, there's two other things I'll tell you quickly. There's no claim to fame in my thing. This is about as far as I've got.
I think being nationally hated by Nigella Lawson's a nice claim to fame.
That's all right, isn't it? It's all right, yeah. But yeah, there was we were in America many years ago, and we were in the car, and a Humvee drove past, and a man with ridiculously large arms, white t-shirt and a stogie drove past us, and it was Arnie. So he drove past us. That was amazing. And he is massive. And then me and my brother, once we were in Santa Monica or Santa Barbara, and we're on these, like, I don't know, they were like little bikes, and we were like in our teens, so we were riding around the dock of the bay, and Christopher Lloyd was there, and we basically followed him to the end of the pier. We knew who it was. Doc Brown. We're like, we followed him the whole way, and then he turned around, and we didn't say anything to him, and he just ran past us, and we're like, all right, that was it. So that was just a random little thing. So yeah, two random stories.
So you've had some nice brushes with celebrities. Brushes.
Yes.
Just going to quickly jump into the chat before we look at your next item. Pad Bear, Batman Returns is the best Christmas film ever released. Catwoman steals the film. Oh, I don't know. It's very much between Catwoman and DeVito for me, but you're absolutely right. Sadly, I think in that movie, Keaton kind of takes a back seat to Catwoman.
Yeah, it's more of a villain piece than it is for Batman. Really, Batman doesn't show till like 25 minutes into the film.
Ian, wow, didn't know that about Flash and Keaton. Still wish we'd done the film club on the Flash. Yeah,
there's still time, man. There's still time. Don't worry.
It would have been an interesting one, that one, I think. Shiny celebrities are like, I want to go on TV and get really famous, and they're also like, people taking fucking pictures of me is not acceptable. I had a very disappointing.
I was in
that, to be fair. I mean, I was down in London on a conference not so long ago, and I literally bumped into Stephen Fry, and he looked thoroughly frigging irritated, like, and I said, "Oh hell," and he just pushed past us and walked off. And I thought, do you kind of try and catch up and say hello, I'm a massive fan, or do you just read the body language that is basically get stuffed, I don't want anyone talking to us? It was really quite irritating, actually, but never mind. Right, your next item is linked to what we've just been talking about. Stunning. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces. It's probably my favorite hot toy. This is an amazing piece. I've got this one, and I've also got the Mime Joker as well. Both of them are perfect. They're absolutely perfect. And I've seen the Mars one, the Mars Toys versions of them. They are good, but they're not a scratch for what these are. It's just perfect. I mean, it just encapsulates Nicholson for me. Jack Nicholson is one of my favorite actors anyway. I love the guy. What he brings to the character is just perfect in that film. And yeah, just timeless. And I think he's just fantastic. And this is just an amazing piece. My buddy Luke, the one who got the stuff from me in Wales, he messaged me one day and said, dude, he went, dude, do you want this? And I went, how much you want for it? And he went to 250, and I said yes straight away.
Wow, it's a steal.
And so I always have like a little bit of money to want, just in case there's a little deal that comes along. And and I did that, and I was so glad I did, because when it came through, he was immaculate, and he really looked after it and stuff like that. So he was retiring from 1/6, so he he sent that my way, and yeah, it's been just absolutely stunning. And I'm very reluctant to keep to even get it out again, because I just don't ever want him to get damaged or anything like that. Yeah. But I love
so
it.
when I got into 1/6 collecting because of the Attention Seeking Geek, his fault, I got a Cap Endgame figure. It was my first figure. And then I was kind of like, well, what do I want? What do I want represented in what's my favorite things? And it was 89, Batman 89. So I looked at the Batman 89, I looked at Joker. And back then, because these are such rare, hard to get figures, the prices were quite steep in comparison to what you could get for a new figure. But I had to have both of them. So these were two of my first figures. And you're right, the Joker, it's absolutely faultless. And I blame that figure, actually, the Joker in particular, for what kind of got me hooked into 1/6 scale. It was kind of the wow, if this is what they can do, this is just amazing.
Well, I think for me, I'd kind of followed a lot of the YouTubers and a lot of what people were talking about, like getting the next thing, and oh, this has come out, get Doctor Strange, you'll get this. So I ended up getting like a plethora of loads of different IPs, and there was no real vision. There was no like dialing it down. What do I truly love? What do I really want? And so I started selling. As I've done a couple of purges in Hot Toys in my time, and this was around the second time I did it, which was post-pandemic, and I was doing the streaming and stuff like that. And I basically said, what do I truly love?
Yeah.
And I love my 89 Batman. I love Dark Knight and all this kind of stuff, all that kind of stuff like that. And I also love a lot of one-off pieces as well. And so I started dialing down that collection then, and this is one of them that is just absolutely stunning for me. I adore it.
It's a stunning piece. Evening, Dr. Von Hoot, thank you very much for joining, my friend.
Great name.
We've got I don't know if you've ever seen his channel, Rich. You've got to check him out. He does all of his shows. He doesn't do his shows, it's his actual face, but he's got a owl face, a man owl face. The image on screen there of him, that's what he looks like in real life.
In real life.
So he's stunning. He's great content. Guys, he's superb channel. We've got 24 people watching, which is fantastic. Please do hit that like and subscribe for myself and Rich. Please go and check out Reviews with Rich's YouTube channel. He's only 6 subs away, well 5 now, that Fuzzy subbed, for getting that 1,000 mark. So if you're not subbed to him, I would really appreciate you checking him out tonight and giving him a sub.
Thank you.
Comic Journey. Jack Nicholson as Joker is iconic, absolutely. But I did a show a couple of weeks back with some of my pals on DC's kind of best scenes.
Yeah, I like that.
And do you know what? As much as I absolutely love Batman 89, I'd kind of forgotten how good Nicholson was in it until I went back and started re-looking at some of the clips.
Yeah,
he's it's sorry to say, and it's the right thing, I guess, but Heath Ledger's performance almost kind of now is everybody talks about Joker.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've kind of forgotten about how good Jack Nicholson was.
He improvised so much of that, you know. That what are you looking at and who are you laughing at and all that kind of stuff. That's all him off the cuff. He's absolute genius in that. I absolutely adore it.
Yeah. Superb. Okay, Rich. Next question for you. Who is your favorite hero? Now, this doesn't have to be a comic book hero. It can be a movie hero, real life hero, anything you want. So who's your favorite hero?
So it's going to sound really cheesy what I'm going to say, but I've always collected heroes in who I admire, appreciate, and try and in some way or form, not emulate, but try and like learn something from them throughout my life. Robin Williams is one of them.
Oh yeah.
It would have been 8 years ago today where he passed, by the way. And Robin Williams, because the type of person he was, obviously incredibly funny, incredibly talented. Marlon Brando, Elvis. So I have like individual like movies, music, and TV and things like that, like heroes. But one of them I've really thought about, especially these last couple of months, especially because of the documentary as well, and somebody that's always been out throughout my life in some way, form, or another, has been Arnold Schwarzenegger. That life that he has had and continues to have is just unbelievable. The man has so much drive, personality, charisma. What he's done with his life is just unbelievable. I admire him so much. He's a true hero for me. And yeah, so him and Elvis are like my heroes, and Brando. So those three, I would say. But if I was going to say just one, it would be Arnold.
It's really interesting you're saying about Arnold. So I always just kind of thought of him as an actor, a movie star, you know, and then obviously he went into politics and he was the governor and things. But with it being over in the States, I have to say I didn't pay much attention to it back then.
Yeah.
But more recently, I've been noticing a lot of his kind of his I don't want to call them speeches, but his presentations on YouTube where he's talking at the camera about matters of the day, political matters, you know, humanitarian matters, things like that.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. You know, he's
honestly unbelievable. If you get a chance to read his book, watch Pumping Iron, when he was Mr. Olympia at that point, and he was brought up in a really bad environment with his dad was a former German soldier.
Yeah.
Obviously, they lost the war. He was a heavy drinker, stuff like that. He used to beat on the boys, so him and his brother. And then obviously he always wanted to be in America, and he just saw that as his goal. He always wanted to be a movie star, and he saw that gain there. I'm butchering it, but basically doing it by becoming a bodybuilder, and he became a bodybuilder, the greatest bodybuilder of all time, someone would argue, but also he's just fantastic. His life is just amazing. If you get a chance to watch the documentary, it's called Arnold on Netflix. It's set up into 3 different bits, so it's like the athlete, the actor, and the politician, and it's just absolutely incredible. Someone I truly admire. So that it would be him.
I will check that one out. I will definitely check that one out. Just jump into the chat again, mate. Well, by lunchtime, I have one statue, Gwen Stacy. If you're going to have one statue, mate, that's a nice one to have because Gwen's a very, very popular character. Comic Journey, everyone focuses on Keaton, but in reality, Nicholson made that movie. I can't disagree with that. I mean, I think they're both superb, but Nicholson, he jumps off the screen. You know, he's, it's phenomenal. Ian, God, this man never fails to surprises. I need to tell you guys about the Playboy Mansion New Year party invite I had in 2007. Still haven't got my invite framed. Now, Ian, we're going to have to talk about this because you've said party invite. Did you attend?
No, he didn't.
Did he not? Oh, no, man.
I know the story. We were in celebration. It's a fantastic story. I'll let him tell you, but that invite is perfection. It's absolutely amazing. Really is.
Next time we're on screen, we'll have to have a chat about that because that sounds amazing.
Definitely.
Is Hefner still alive?
Mm-mm.
When did
he died a couple of years back.
Oh, right, missed that. Dr. Von Hoot, for sure. CJ Nicholson as a force of nature, absolutely. This is Empire Strikes Back is saying that the Netflix documentary is really good. Have to check that one out. Werewolf by Night is saying, Werewolf by Lunchtime.
Adored
it. Yeah, I mean, Rich, you're a massive fan of that, aren't you?
Massive Elvis fan. The focus on the 70s. If you've seen it, Werewolf, you know what I'm talking about. But the fact that they focus so much on the 70s, which is my favorite time in his life. It's just amazing. It's just the way they does it, and the actor plays in Austin Butler is honestly some of the best acting I've ever seen anyone do. It's unbelievable. So
I've not seen it yet. It's on my list. I'll have to say that we'll maybe do a chat about that at some point because it's a one that I want to watch.
I would love to do that.
Yeah. Comic Journey, Ledger reinvented Joker. Yeah, I think that's fair, mate. And Nicholson created the blueprint on how to act as the Joker for all future actors. Yeah, I can't disagree with that, but I think
you can't ignore Phoenix though. I mean, that's one of the strengths of a character like the Joker, where you can have so many different interpretations of it, and there's no right or wrong way of doing it apart from if you're Jared Leto, I guess. But I think that was more the material. But yeah, I think that character is just so strong. An amazing actor can put their own stamp on it, and that's just really commendable. They can do that. But Joaquin Phoenix, I think he did some of the best acting of all time.
But I think you're right. I think the character of the Joker is the one that, and it's the same in the comic books. There are so many variations, versions of it that it's a character that can be reinvented.
Yeah.
We've got my pal Terry here. Thanks very much for joining. Deadman. Total Recall is one of his favorite movies, favorite actor autobiography. Total Recall is my favorite actor autobiography. Fascinating man. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah,
not read that
I
one
agree
yet.
with you completely.
Pat Bear, sorry to say this, but I hate the Nicholson Joker. Oh,
Talk
like a
between
knife through the
yourselves.
heart.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
Come on.
knife in the heart. That made
Come on.
each to their own and all that. Rich, are you doing the Barbenheimer double feature?
I saw Oppenheimer. I enjoyed the middle third. The last bit I thought was a bit of a just didn't really.
Not seen Barbie yet.
Not yet. No, I think I'll watch it on streaming. To be honest.
Yeah. Well, by lunchtime, my parents are massive Elvis fans. They've been to Graceland twice. Oof,
well,
nice.
Werewolf, tell your parents that in October there is a Graceland exhibition at London Bridge where there's going to be a lot of the costumes. That's where me and my brother are going as well.
Fabulous.
So yes.
Okay, Rich, talk to her. I mean, we've been talking about these characters a little bit, so talk to her about this figure, because this is amazing as well.
This is the Mime Joker. Apparently wasn't very popular when it first came out, and they really struggled to sell it. This is a stunning piece. I got this literally sealed, brand new, I think last year before, I think it was last year, and I dropped it when I was doing a review.
Oh! Did you damage it? Was it damaged?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I damaged the hair, and hence why when I took this picture, he was wearing a hat. But yeah, he basically chipped some of his hair, so it wasn't that green at the front. But I mean, this is just. I actually prefer this one to the 89, the purple suit one, simply because it's got the Gotham diorama. It's got a bit more personality about him. I don't know why I think that, but it's just it looks more. It looks like it's literally just come off the screen, and I absolutely adore this piece. It's absolutely stunning. Another hot toy which will always stay with me, and it's one that I will never part with. Yeah, it's just stunning. Nice.
It's not a one I've got. It's not a one I've got, but I am on the watch for it. It's a nice one.
I'll keep an eye out, man.
Yeah, cheers, bud. So in your, I know you've got a busy life. You've got a demanding job. You've got a young'un yourself. So what makes a perfect day for you? What would be a perfect day in your life?
Okay. So initially I'd wake up, we'd go to a beach. We'd go to like Devon Beach if it was 5 minutes down the road, but it's not. It's 4 hours away. We'd go to Broadsands Beach, and my daughter would play in the sand. And we'd just be at the beach for a couple of hours. We'd get a coffee, we sit, have a lovely time, go to brunch somewhere, and then randomly my brother would teleport out of nowhere from Spain, because he lives in Spain, and me and him would go to Starbucks together, share a cigar or have a cigar each, have a good chat, a catch up, go and watch a film together, and then I would then take the missus out for a meal, and we'll go for cocktails, and just go dancing somewhere. That would be something like be perfect. So it'd be kind of the mixture of like family time with my brother, and then time with the missus. So that's how it'd be like my perfect day. I'm having very close to that perfect day, like in October, really, because I'm going down to London. We're going to see that Elvis exhibition I told you about. Again, with my brother, we're going to go out for a meal, and then we're going to go and roll out all and see the Arnie thing. The next day, my wife and daughter are coming down. We're going to meet me while my brother goes back to Spain. We're going to go and see Frozen in the West End.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be like, my daughter loves it anyway. So things like that, like just really quality time, really more experiential stuff. But yeah, that would be a perfect day for me.
I mean, that sounds beautiful, Rich, and I'm loving the fact that it's a focus on family. And what I can't help but notice, having talked to you before and also tonight, is that strong relationship and bond you have with your brother, which some families don't always have. So it's lovely to hear of someone who absolutely genuinely loves and enjoys spending time with the brother.
Thank you. Yeah, he's my best friend. Thank you.
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay, mate. Next toy to talk about is this beast. Look at that.
Yes. So I bought the initial Millennium Falcon, which is a smaller version of this, when Force Awakens came out, and then when they announced the UCS, which is this one, which is absolutely huge, it's 6,500 pieces.
Wow.
Yeah, my wife said to me, get it, you can get it, kind of thing. And I remember she was on like the wait list. We were both on the wait list for it, and then literally she was going to work. I tried loads of time. The website kept crashing, all this kind of stuff, and she was in the car. She was about to set off to go to work, and she ran back in and went, "It's in my basket." Like, so I ended up getting this absolutely huge box. It's absolutely massive. I've still got the box. I adore it. And this piece, I basically spent a couple of hours every weekend doing this in my old man cave, and I loved every minute of building this, and it is truly stunning. I collect a lot of UCS pieces, which is the Ultimate Collectors series. Everyone doesn't know that, so it's like the black box, and because they're a bit more complicated and the larger scale. This is in my storage unit, and I am going to get a Wicked Bricks cabinet for it, and I'm going to have it probably around here with a couple of lights and stuff like that, because it is one of my all-time favorite things, and I love every second of it. It's of just building it, and all those minifigs that came with it. There's a couple that are from like Last Jedi on there as well, but just I love it, and that's like, for me, that is Star Wars. That is Star Wars to me. And if I only had one piece in my collection, it would be that, just to represent Star Wars. Yeah,
it's really interesting. So a couple of things on that. First of all, I'm not a Lego person. I bought the Lego Optimus Prime, and I mean, Empire Strikes is saying here, and I think you kind of summed it up as well. Building Lego takes you out of everything. It absolutely didn't for me. It did my head in. So Lego is just not my kind of thing. But I can't help but think how stunning pieces like this look when they're built, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen a few of, I think Ben, the Attention Seeking Geek's got a smaller version of this.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
But he's got a kind of a adaptation that makes it able to put on the wall, which looks amazing.
Yeah, he's got a wall mount. It's really cool. And he's got like the TIE Fighter and the X-Wing as well, which looks really good. Yeah, no, it does look great. This is too big to do that. But
I think
you can, there's the UCS. I mean, it's literally it's this big. It's like, it is absolutely huge. It's massive. That is two Kallax units together.
Yeah.
Just to show you like to the size of it, to give you scale there.
I'm sure I've seen, I don't know which channel it is, but it's a YouTube channel. I'm sure I've seen a channel where he's got one of those things that I think it's that size in a kind of a glass table. So it's his dining table kind of thing. And it looks amazing. But yeah, stunning.
Thank you. There was one in celebration that Wicked Bricks had a stand there, and then they had the cabinet, which I'm going to get, which is like 250 odd quid, so it's not cheap. Where basically it's like a mount that you can put it to one side, and it's like so you see it's banking, and then there's like all perspex. It's all nice and dust proof. And then I've recently built this with my daughter, which is the Raiders Lost Ark set as well, which is extra special now because I built it with her as well. So it's little things like that more and more now, where I'm kind of like there's a story behind most of the things that I'm keeping now, so that's really nice.
Yeah, I love that. Von Hoot, I prefer my toys to come already built. Yeah, I'm the same. But shiny. If you need an idea of the scale, those aren't Lego men with a Falcon. Okay, but next question, and this can be anybody you want, any channel, anything that kind of gives you a bit of joy, something that helps you to switch off. If you could recommend a channel for the viewers to watch, whose channel would you recommend and why?
I would recommend a channel called Retro Ghetto.
Yeah,
Retro Ghetto is a guy called Callum. He's a really enthusiastic, great guy that basically does one video a week on a Wednesday where he talks about his collection. So he talks about retro video games. He's building up like a Super Nintendo wall of all his favorite games and things like this. And he's a really likable guy. And then on a Sunday, he does a really long vlog, which is like him. He basically does something which I've emulated with in terms of building up So going to like car boots and to charity shops and stuff like this, and getting them for very cheap, and then take them to CEX to get vouchers.
Yeah.
You get those vouchers towards something bigger. So I'm putting mine towards a camera, for example, at the moment. And so what he does is he does this. He goes to charity shops and he gets all this stuff for really cheap. And he takes it in and he builds these things. He keeps on building his collection for his room. He's so passionate. I used to love video games when I was back in the day, and retro games and stuff like that, but I don't really have time now. But I love his channel. He is such a likable guy. I almost met him. So what happened was I messaged him because he's fairly local to me. And I messaged him because he had the Dark Knight Rises standees from the cinema. Bane, Catwoman, and Batman, and they're absolutely massive. And he had it in his old 2.5, which is called his essentially his man cave is in the 3.0 now. And he had it in there. And I saw it one day, and I was like, messaged him and said, dude, can I have this and I'll give you some money for it? And it's like, yeah, no problem. I'm trying to clear up some space anyway. So he came by the house and he dropped him round, and Mrs. had a little chat with him. So he was a really nice guy. And yeah, and he did a little shout out on my channel for my channel. And he's just a really nice guy. He's one I truly, he's like proper spit and sawdust, really down to earth guy, not massive production value or anything like that, but he just put so much passion into it. I would love to do something like that long term myself, in terms of my love for cinema and that kind of putting that across in some way. So yeah, him is such a legend. So yeah, that it would be him for me.
Well worth checking out. I'm sure I've seen that channel a few occasions myself. We'll put the link in the bio of this video, so please do go check that out. Whilst you're checking that out, please do check out Reviews with Rich. He's now on 996 subscribers, so only 4 away from that 1,000.
Oh, come on, everybody, please
do hit that
live. Come on,
let's do it. It's like a, what do you call it? A kind of a live-a-thon or something like that. We'll get you. Yeah. Telephone. Okay. Next thing from your collection, and this is something that when you sent over the image, I was incredibly jealous of. I've also found an image of the actual thing on the internet, so people can have a closer look at it as well, by one of my all-time favorite artists.
Yes.
So tell a little about this stunning piece.
So this is a signed print by Alex Ross called Batman Gargoyle. When I used to live in Derby, I used to go into this art gallery, in the Westfield Centre, and they had this Alex Ross exhibition where they had this piece and a couple of others, and I always wanted one, and I couldn't afford it. It was too expensive. And randomly, I put my name down on like a mailing list or whatever, and then I got a call out of the blue. I think it was just before the pandemic. And he called me up and he said, "Are you still interested?" Oh, this was way before pandemic. Anyway, it was a few years back. He called me up and said, "We've got a sale on. Would you be interested?" I said, "Absolutely." I got it for £250.
Wow.
And it was one of the best days ever. I walked down there and I picked it up and I brought it back to the car park. And my wife was in the car waiting for me, and she said she's never seen me smile so much. And it is absolutely stunning. I have also got as well, which I've still got to pick up, is another one from Alex Ross, and it's the one with Superman where he's looking up and he's doing the shirt, the unveiling, and that's stunning. That's also signed by Alex Ross as well. One day when we get a bigger house, when I have a proper man cave that's not going to get affected by sun rays, I'm going to end up having it in pride of place. But this is just stunning. I love it. I love art like this, and stunning pieces. I adore it.
Alex Ross is one of my all-time favorite artists. I think he's an absolute genius. I've got a few pieces. I haven't got any art prints, but I've got a few comics signed by him.
I was going to say, because I've got his sketchbook. I think he did a sketchbook thing that he released, and he signed that as well. I've got quite a few signed things actually. I collect like signed vinyl, and I've got like signed graphic novels, a couple of things like that, because I messaged you about that Thought Bubble. I've been there once before, and I've got quite a few things like, is it Criminal? Was it Criminal?
Mm-hmm. Ed Brubaker, is it?
Ed Brubaker. It was the artist, Ed Brubaker, and can't remember his name, but and I've got a Batman artist and to Lee, I can't can't remember his name now. I'll have to send you a picture of it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
send
I've
us
got
the
loads of
image.
stuff signed.
Are you doing Thought Bubble this year?
I might. It's either that or the Liverpool Comic Con. Just really
Oh,
depends.
I'm doing both, so I'll see
Yeah.
you at one of them. That would be
Oh,
cool.
okay,
That'd be very,
perfect.
very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
We've got your brother in the chat. I'm so proud of
Oh,
you, killing it. Get him to 1K.
thank you,
That's
man.
lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, if you haven't already, I know I'm pushing, but if you haven't already, go and jump over to Reviews with Rich now, and sub them up. Well, by lunchtime, I've assigned. Oh, by John Romita Senior. Yeah, God, QVC. I used to love watching that back in the day. I don't know if you remember that, Rich.
Money that, yeah, of course I do. Yeah,
yeah, they used to, be selling they did dynamic forces, didn't they? Sales stuff. I got some great stuff from them. Dr. Von Hoot, stunning. Hard not to love Alex Ross. Absolutely,
100%.
absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
Got a video coming out on my channel shortly about the little Alex Ross collection I've picked up. So worth checking that out when it comes out. If we get Rich to 1K, he can monetize his channel to help afford the new house. So by subscribing, you're funding Rich's bad cave.
Absolutely that. So thank you very much. Oh,
Von Hoot, 997. Good man.
Three
Come
more,
on.
guys. 3 more. Come on. Thank you.
Next piece, Rich.
Yes.
Tell her about these.
So the Bane is the one that I got in the bundle. So that's part of that story that I got that I sold off. This is a sculpted in-art Joker. The thing that's been a constant conversation for the last year or so within the 1/6 community. I got the 2-pack sculpted because thank you very much for that, Dave. Because I have their stuff in the conservatory. I'm not a hairdresser, so I didn't want to have rooted hair. And so I wanted this sculpted hair, and I got the 2-pack, and this really is amazing. I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorite pieces, and it's just so lifelike. I don't even think this picture even does it justice. It's just amazing. It helps being in this cabinet, which I got from it's called Apex. I got it from Facebook Marketplace for £100, but they're absolutely amazing. If I just quickly turn that light out, and you can just see that it absolutely brings it to life, and it's an absolutely amazing piece. I got the 2-pack. The jail cell wall I've ended up selling because it didn't set me alight. I thought it was okay, but it wasn't the purple coat. And I just thought, okay, I'm happy with what I've got, and it's absolutely perfect. And yeah, so that's kind of reinvigorated my love for 1/6 a little bit. I'm pre-ordering less. I'm getting less things. I've got a couple of things from InArt on pre-order. The quality of the packaging, everything that they've done in terms of the accessories and everything like that, I'm just so blown away by what the amount of, it's like getting an Apple product but as a collectible. Does that make sense? It's
absolutely does.
So you've got it yourself, but it's kind of like, it just feels like it's something really special, and they put some real thought into it rather than just mass produce, sent it out kind of thing. And so that really feels really special for me. So I think my plan is to have a few more of these cabinets, and have them spread around, and have basically my primo pieces in, and then just have like less is more. Really, I think it's probably the way forward for me.
Yeah, and I think that particular figure, you're right. There was all kinds of conversation at the time about it, and people, getting really excited about it. And let's be honest, a bit like you were talking about earlier. I got pretty sick of hearing people talk about it.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, once you get it in hand, it's a friggin' phenomenal figure. It really is.
Yeah, it really is.
Amazing.
Once you get it posed up, because I think as I messaged you about this, didn't I? Because I got it, I opened it and was like, like that. Like I was like, all right, like that kind of thing. Wasn't that bothered. And then I got that cabinet. I didn't mean to knock my mic then. But I got my cabinet, and I thought, I'm going to try it one more time. And I posed him up, and I put him in, and I turned it on. I was like, I'm having it. I'm keeping it. Because I was going to sell the whole thing. Because I was like, I'm not bothered. It's not selling me a light. The 1/6 game I was out of it, and all this kind of stuff. And it pulled me back in a bit. So yeah, it's brought me back to life in terms of the 1/6. I've got my black suit Superman, which I don't know if I'm going to keep in there, but that piece means a lot to me in terms of the black suit Superman is something that really reminds me of when I was reading Return of Superman. Obviously, after he died in the 90s in the comics, he came back with the long hair and stuff like that. I love that suit, and having that on film was just meant a lot. And I like Henry Cavill a lot as well. And Superman, believe it or not, surrounded by all my Batman stuff, is my favorite comic book hero. I know
So
to Ben's dismay.
No, do you know what? That's really interesting. I'm going to come to some breaking news in a second, but that's really interesting, Rich, because Superman's my favorite character as well, and he gets a lot of grief. So I've recently spoke to a chap called John Lees, who's a bona fide comic writer. He did this show with me a while ago, and we talked about our love for Superman, and he's agreed to try and pull together a video with me about why Superman is not boring. So if you want to help fill in a little, what I want is a lot of snippets of people saying why Superman is important to them and what he means, to try and tell people that he's not a shit character. Rich, congratulations, mate, you've hit 1K. Yeah. Very good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you so much to everybody who's supported, Rich.
Thank you so much, buddy. That means a lot. Thank you.
My daughter and son have both subscribed to you as well, so I'm over the moon with that.
Happy birthday to your daughter, by the way, as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed the barbecue. Oh, man, thank you so much.
Good
that
stuff.
Means a lot, honestly.
Congratulations, bud. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Rich. Next question, mate. Favorite villain? Who's your favorite
Joker.
bad guy? And again, no hesitation. Joker, straight in there.
Joker.
Why is that then?
Because he's so layered. There's so many interpretations of him. There's so many different versions of him in terms of, like, there's some comics where he is so brutal. Dark Knight Returns, when he's going through that fun fair and he's killing people indiscriminately, is so chilling. And he's just laughing the whole time. Is just absolutely unbelievable. It's that, the animated film, by the way, if people haven't seen that, is just perfect, by the way. That story will never get any better on film. If they tried to do that as a film, won't ever get better than what they did in that, because it was a two-part animated film. It's Joker for me, 100%. Like I said, the fact that it can constantly be rewritten, reinterpreted, reimagined, is just something that's just fantastic. It's amazing, honestly.
So many layers, isn't it? So
many layers to him. Yeah.
There's a comic series out at the moment which I've been reviewing on my comic review show, called Night Terrors. It's the kind of the current DC crossover event.
Right.
It's dreadful, mate. It really is dreadful. But basically, each of the different issues, and there's loads of mini series, are basically telling the story from one of the characters who's stuck in a nightmare realm. And the only one that's been really interesting so far is the Joker issue. And basically, in the first issue, Batman trips over and falls off a roof and dies. And then Joker kind of becomes an employee of Wayne Enterprises. He's in charge of HR and stuff. And his nightmare is basically a life of normal kind of data. And it's really quite interesting. It's well written. So yeah,
have you read White Knight?
Yeah, love White Knight.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I really like that a lot. I've got the first print. I'm going to get that CGC'd one day. I am going to have to close these windows a second, because I'm going to have to just turn this camera off for a second, because there's loads of bugs coming in, because I've got lights on.
Yeah, I don't want bugs. Dr. Von Hoot, Dark Knight Returns is the best comic of all time, and also the best animated DC movie. Yeah, but I can't disagree with you there. And Von Hoot, I'm interested to get your thoughts on Saturday night, hopefully if you're free, on the live show, because James Gunn has announced that a lot of DC's animated movies are going to be cinema releases rather than the current kind of direct to video. So that should be really interesting. Empire Strikes, recently watched Hush and The Long Halloween. They were excellent. Yeah, this is the interesting thing, is I think DC do some absolutely phenomenal animated movies. Their animation department is top notch, you know.
They did amazing, apart from The Hush, I'm afraid. The Hush.
I haven't seen that one yet. I haven't seen that one.
It's a different person who's Hush. Shall I just say that?
It's interesting because they do tend to try and add something different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they made a bad call on that one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Von Hoot, straight with you there. Not in love with the changes into Hush or The Long Halloween. Fuzzy, have we not seen enough Joker now? Fuzzy, I'm a bit of the opinion, I think you might have mentioned this before, Fuzzy, that I enjoy the Joker so much, but he should be impactful. I'd rather he wasn't in his own ongoing series. I'd rather he wasn't in every Batman issue every month. I want him to breeze in once every few years and cause absolute carnage. That's
Well, they did that with. It wasn't the Tom King run. It was the one
Grant
before that.
Morrison when he took his face. Not Grant
His
Morrison.
face, it was, yeah, I know which one, but it's one where
Yeah.
they took his face off, and he was just gone for ages.
Yeah.
And then he came back, and I thought that was so good. But I think for the Batman, as in Robert Pattinson's Batman, they shouldn't have had him there.
Yeah.
I think they should have ignored having a Joker there just quite yet. I think
that felt like a bit of a cop out at the end to me. To be honest,
yeah, was a bit.
Speaking of Batman.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Von Hoot's right. Yeah, it was the 52, new 52.
That's right. Scott Snyder,
Snyder.
Yeah, I've got all those, yeah.
That watch has got me intrigued. That looks amazing.
So this is a police watch. I collect a lot of watches as well. So I'm actually wearing it now. I didn't realize I was wearing it. If you want to... Yeah, there you go.
Let's make it big. Yeah, nice.
Just see that.
So is that a Gotham PD police watch?
No, it's a Batman v Superman police watch.
Got you.
So it's the limited edition Superman one, and basically it came out in 2015, and with the release of the film, they released two versions of this one, which is the Batman one, which is all grey, and this one, which is got a really beautiful blue and red to it, and so. Again, another story. They sold out very, very quickly. These on the police website, and we were in Cambridge. We're seeing the mother-in-law and me and the missus were out shopping at the time, and we're on this like park and ride bus or whatever. And randomly, if you give my wife a task, like to say, "I can't find this thing; it's sold out," she just nothing else matters. She will lock onto that thing and just do it. And she went, "I found it." Like that within 5 minutes. Jesus Christ, really? Like that. And I managed to get it. So this is absolutely amazing. It was sat in a box for a very long time where I didn't wear this. I didn't wear, because I've got a Justice League one as well, the Zack Snyder Justice League one. And I've got another one, I think. I've also got the Batman one, which I did on my channel, which shows almost 5,000 views, by the way.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Wow. But it looks
it's amazing. Honestly, I love stuff like this. It's just a slight extension of my love for comic book films and comic books. Just to have something like it's so subtle. The fact that you just see it's a cool watch, and there's obviously the Batman v Superman emblem on it. You would never notice. It just looks like a cool watch. No one would really know, and it's just a really nice little cool thing. So I like having stuff like this. That tumbler is part of that bundle that I got.
Have I told? I don't know if I've told you my story or not about my cufflinks, because I have a similar cufflink collection.
Oh yeah.
So if I'm wearing suits at work, and I have cufflinks on, I like to wear kind of weird, wacky ones. Right. And I was in the boardroom a while ago with some very stuck-up people. And someone nudged us and just kind of leant over and just said, "Hail Hydra." And I was like, oh, what? And it wasn't until I looked, I realized I had my Hydra cufflinks on, and he clocked it. So I love stuff like that, where you can be a geek, but not necessarily show it off, and only other geeks know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to wear a lot of suits. And I have loads of different cufflinks. I have Captain America ones, Batman, Superman ones. I've got all sorts of ones, and I got a couple of 007 ones as well. Yeah. And I even had it was a really beautiful, like a gun grey tie clip that had a Batman. I had a Superman little symbol on it, but no one would know until you got really, really close. Yeah. So it just looked like I was really, really put together, like 3-piece suit, all really nice, and they got a little thing like that. So.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
and then the tumbler, that's a beast.
Massive. It's absolutely massive. This was part of the bundle that I got that I ended up selling. It is amazing. They're very quite flimsy though with those flaps. You have to be very careful with how you kind of lifting it up and pulling it out and stuff like that. But it's impressive. It's very impressive. If I had the space, I probably would have kept it. And instead of having Bane on it, I would have had a Nightmare Batman on it instead. And I think that would have looked cool as a display piece, like maybe doing the Nightmare and him.
Is that Hot Toys, Rich, or is that
Hot Toys? Yeah. So it's the Hot Toys tumbler. So it's obviously they've re-released the black one recently, with the Bat Pod. But yeah, this one came out around the same time as the first lot and Dark Knight Rises. So yeah, it is a big bugger. It's a big bugger.
So I've pre-ordered, in a moment of insanity, I've pre-ordered the Hot Toy 89 Batmobile.
Yes, me
I've
too.
got no idea where I'm putting it. Have you got a space already for yours?
So I've also got this as well recently.
Oh, no. Oh, I saw you. Did you do a
Yeah.
video on that? Yeah, I
I'm
saw
gonna
that,
do a
yeah.
video on it. I'm gonna do a video on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So So I've got that.
Yeah.
I've got a diecast Hot Wheels one, and I've also got the UCS Batman '89 Batmobile, and then I've
Yeah.
got the Hot Toys one as well. So I've got a lot of Batmobiles, and I've got the Batwing as well. So I've got lots of stuff to build or pre-ordered. So I'm gonna have to build a new chuffing house at this rate. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you need an
Oh,
extension. Yeah, extension.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, mate. We're coming to the end of the show now.
Ah,
And I want to end on or start to end on a bit of advice from you. So if you could give the viewers some advice, it can be on anything you want. It can be on your life advice. It can be on collecting advice. It can be on YouTube advice. Anything you want. What would you tell the people watching?
Okay, I'll start with the least important first. So the collecting. Always collect within your means. Don't do it for anybody else but yourself. The only person that is going to see that in the flesh is going to be you. If you put it out on the groups and stuff like that, yeah, great, you'll get a couple of likes and stuff, but only get things that you truly love, because it's very, very easy to get caught up on stuff and get caught up on the hype. So that's my first bit of advice for collecting. In terms of YouTube, I've gone through a bit of a journey myself, as what we spoke about, where I've kind of spent a lot of time on other people's channels. This isn't the exception. Yeah. I genuinely love this today. But it's great to spend time on other people's channels, but you got to do stuff for yourself, and don't just follow what everybody else is doing. I went through a period of time where I was reviewing some of my collection, and I was boring myself. Oh, here's the head sculpting. This is this and this and this. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is no. I did a McFarlane Elvis 668 Compact Special review. It took me 3 hours to film that video and edit it and everything else like that, and it ended up being 2 minutes as a video once I edited it. And I bored myself, and I was like, I like it. I love the piece. It means a lot to me, but I can't really use any more superlatives. I mean, I can only say so many things. And yeah, so my advice to people who are starting up a YouTube channel or maintaining a YouTube channel, don't just be one of many voices. Don't just be a, oh, they've released this hot toy, and what do you think? And and that just be the main focus of your channel, because if it is, sooner or later, that bubble is going to burst. Yeah. And there was a period of time where people had a lot of extra money, because during the pandemic, they were spending all the money on little bits for themselves, 1/6 scale and bits and bobs like that. And they got very much caught up in it, and they did a lot of speculative stuff. So they were buying stuff like very much like what happened with the comic books in the 90s. People were buying stuff because they're thinking, oh yeah, this is sold for double the money, and all this kind of stuff like that. People started doing that as like an investment piece. It's not an investment piece. It's if you get something out of it, fantastic. It's worth the money. But if not, and you're doing it for an investment, don't do it. So that's that thing with the YouTube thing and the collecting thing at the same time, really, to be fair. It's taken me a bit of time. Don't overthink it. Just do it. I've been doing vlogs. I've been doing literally, my wife's been filming my car when I've come out and seen the film, and my literal straight reaction on my channel from when I did The Flash and when I did Indie and stuff like that. So I'm finding my voice more and more now by doing stuff that I truly love. And I think because of that, I'm so much happier from it. I was boring myself, and I was quite lost. Me and Ben have talked about this quite a few times in terms of like what we want to do with our channels and everything like that. And for me, it's just continue to do the stuff I love. If I grow to whatever it is, then fantastic. If not, I'm happy doing this no matter what. So I hope people, when they do see my channel or whatever videos, they know, especially the last, say 5 or 6, whatever it is, has been very brutally honest, very much me. Yeah. So you'll always get complete honesty and transparency from me. Life advice: be more present. You just gotta be here now. Yeah. You gotta you don't do stuff for other people, do it for you and your family. I take all this away to have whatever I needed for my family, and I would do it in a heartbeat. And I think, and having special moments, stopping, getting off your goddamn phone, getting off the apps and stuff like this, is really important. I've started doing something more and more now where I'm either leaving my phone in a different room, or I'm literally moving all the apps to the back of my phone, so I don't go straight onto it. I used to do this thing where I used to like stand in the queue and I used to be like straight away onto Instagram, onto Facebook and stuff like that. I'm trying to be more present, to be more aware. So I think that's a little bit of advice just generally. I think it's something that little life lessons, I guess.
Superb. And I think for me, there's a few key points there. First of all, that being present is absolutely essential. I recently did a course as part of a Florence Nightingale scholarship, actually, down in Windsor Castle.
Oh,
and
wow.
the first thing they said to you when you got there was, we've got built into the program 3 or 4 hours a day where you're doing nothing. Just walk around, enjoy the scenery. The only rule is you're not allowed on your phone. And I thought, that's mental. I need to, what if people need us, or what if, and I did it, and it was phenomenal, Rich. And it's a practice I've continued now. I always make sure a couple of hours a day I'm not anywhere near my phone, just to have that downtime,
Yeah, definitely.
I think for me, what I hear from you a lot and what I've observed on your channel is that genuineness. So like you say, not doing what everybody else is doing, not agreeing with everybody's opinion. One of my big things on YouTube is that you're allowed to have your own voice and opinion.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't bother people. People shouldn't get upset. You should be allowed to say what you want to say.
Yeah, exactly.
So I really think I recognize that in you, that you've got this kind of this persona where actually what you see is what you get. There's no bullshit. There's no man behind the curtain, which is the kind of creator I'm drawn to more than anything.
Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you, genuinely.
Just jumping to the chats here. So some people are chucking in some advice. Well, by lunchtime, don't buy off eBay. Yeah, good stuff. 6 Hill Padawan, some great advice from Rich there. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Shiny. Only buy from Toys Wonderland and Pop Collectible. No, shiny. Absolutely not. Sean, fear of missing out. Absolutely. I got into that big time with comic books for a good long time. And
definitely.
You don't need every variant cover out.
You don't need everything. You don't need anything really.
Absolutely.
You just need stuff. Just if you want it, then get it. And then it's But fear of missing out is a big one.
Oh, it's huge. Dead Man dies. Diversification is Peter's middle name. Hence, thank you very much, mate. I appreciate that. I like to do on my channel. You'll hopefully get lots of different kinds of shows, flavors. Different kinds of stuff, because I don't like to do one and get bored.
That's why I like your show as well. Not to blow smoke up yours, but like I like the fact that you do loads of different things, and that you're not just one.
Yeah,
I'm only doing hot toys and that's it. You've got your 1/6, you've got your comics, you've got your pop culture, you're talking about this, and then your deep dives into different IPs and stuff, and it's great. And I think that's why more and more people are drawn to stuff like that, because it's is to see the passion, and B, you're not a chuffing echo chamber, which is just like what we've been saying. It's just after a while, it's like, really, are people still talking about this same goddamn thing?
That's very true, mate.
Very
true. Shiny, you're not wrong. Brutal dishonesty, following trends while putting all your eggs in one basket is essential for a YouTuber. You're not wrong, mate. And I think, the channels that do diversify a little bit struggle sometimes. But what I would say is those channels are probably having much more fun. So for me, it comes down to what you enjoy doing rather than what's going to...
And what you enjoy watching as well, because it's like if you're drawn to things like I'm drawn to kind of like your channel and Retro Ghetto and stuff like that, and things of kind of watching people that are passionate about something, that's the stuff I like to watch myself. So I want to make content like that so people can see that. So I know he's just told me it's amazing. My wife just come in and just wrote 1K on a piece of paper.
Oh, bless. Good stuff. Good stuff. Fuzzy, always the man with the best advice. Don't fiddle with it, it'll fall off. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, Rich, last few bits for you to show off. We've got these. Tell us a little bit about these.
All right. First thing, that Indiana Jones is a piece of art sketch that I picked up from Star Wars Celebration. My original intention was to go to Star Wars Celebration and buy a lightsaber hilt. and that was my priority, and they were too expensive, and I was not willing to pay those prices. And Indiana Jones is such a massive character for me, and in my love of cinema, and Harrison Ford is as well. And I saw this at the latter part of the day where we're walking around the art corner, and I saw it. I was walking around with Agent Silver Fox and his Mrs. Lucy. I went, "Oh my god, I need that!" And I asked the guy, I was like, "Oh, how much? How much is it?" And bearing in mind, there's no price on it. I was like, "It's going to be a fortune." It's like a original sketch.
Pricey.
And he went, "Yeah," and he was like, "I think it's down for 80, but you can 60." I went, "Yeah," straight away. And I just, I like that was my honestly prized possession from that, and it just means a lot to me. And then the next day, randomly, I picked up a lightsaber hilt from a vintage shop the next day in Matlock, and I actually, I think I've shown you this before, but this is something that I got from Star Wars Celebration. So that is made by Wicked Brick, and then I basically plonked that on top of it. And I thought that looks pretty cool. So as like a display piece, I think that looks great. But having those bits of, like I said, stories, it just means means a lot to me. I can, rather than just I went to a shop and I bought it. It was like I went into this vintage shop, toy shop, and went, "Do you have any lightsabers?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I think I've got one or two. I've got this one in the back and all this kind of stuff." And he found it out. I got it for really cheap and stuff. And it just But with the other part of the slide, so I have a large record collection, vintage vinyl collection. I haven't even counted there. There's a load there. There's loads in my storage unit as well, which are all signed. So I've got loads of like Nothing But Thieves. I've got Sam Fender albums that are signed. I've got all sorts of stuff from your neck of the woods. And Elvis is my favorite singer of all time. He's one of my favorite people. He's one of my heroes. Just incredible. His music, I was introduced to him around, I've always known of him when I was younger. I was growing up and stuff, and then I got an album which was like his. I was working in Virgin Megastore when I was a student, and it was about 2000, and it was a blue cover, and it had Elvis on it. It said it was like greatest live performances, and I just listened to it constantly. And I introduced my brother to it, and then we went down to France and we were watching the Tour de France and stuff like this, and we just listened to it incessantly. And then from that point onwards, I just basically bought everything of his, all his music, and I've got all his vinyls and even the re-release stuff as well. I keep getting, and it just means so much to me. His soul and his voice. It's just amazing, and he's just it was such an incredible guy. The film absolutely does him justice. The performance by Austin Butler is amazing, and I would recommend it to anybody who
I need to check it out.
It's a bit Baz Luhrmann for the first 10 minutes. It's a bit like, oh god, where's this going? But it just settles down, and it's just wow. Honestly, the you'll get to see it, and then just let me know when you have, because it's just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
I'll check that one out. Empire Strikes is just saying those hilts were extortionate. They were. I thought, do you know what? I came away from Celebration and didn't buy anything. That's a lie. I bought a few. I bought a few bits and bobs as gifts for people, but I didn't buy anything for myself, which was quite a surprise. 12 by Night, Aloha from Hawaii.
Correct.
Okay. Broadcast around the world. That picture was Aloha from Hawaii. Right, got you.
In 1972, top of my head, and on 1973, and that was one of the first major broadcasts that went all the way around the world and was broadcast all the way around the world. It's a massive, an amazing performance as well. This is phenomenal. This is my first ever real collectible that was in while I was an adult, which is one I talked to you about before, which is the one. This is one of I think it's the first picture on my Instagram, for my personal Instagram that I took. So I think it's about 2011. And this was on my shelf in my office in my old house before I got all the other stuff that I have now. And this basically set, and I got it from Forbidden Planet because I was working in Knott's at the time. And I went out on my lunch break. I was buying some comics, and I saw it in the window, and I was like, I have to have it. And and it's basically started it all off. So
that would have been nice and cheap from Forbidden Planet, was it?
Yeah, about 100 odd quid, I think it was. Yeah, but just for a bust, and it was. I mean, it's
all right, yeah.
It's yeah. You know what they're like. They're like adding a couple more zeros to it. But no, genuinely amazing, and like it was one of those where you're like, I've got this to the missus, his former girlfriend, and going, oh, okay, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Can I put it in the sitting room? No, no, you can't.
I'll put it in the office. All right, okay.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. So that was the thing that kind of basically started it all off, and that was kind of like the thing that started me being able to kind of take the reins off a bit and just kind of really go into more collectibles and create my follow my passion really.
Good stuff. Okay, Rich, we're near the end now. Is there anything else you want to show off before we call it a night?
Yes. I've got a couple of CGCs.
Oh, yes.
So this one here,
Invincible, one of my favorite comic book series.
Number one.
Yeah.
It's the reprint. It's the Skybound exclusive signed by Robert Kirkman and Corey Walker.
Yes.
So I adore this story. The fantastic show, obviously on Amazon Video, and I won this in a raffle.
Really?
Yeah. So there's a raffle on Facebook, and I randomly entered it, and I got a message from somebody I've known before, and he just said to me, "Congratulations!" I went, "What for?" And he went, "You've won." So then I messaged the guy who was running the group, and he said, "You've got a choice of this." And there's a couple other ones. I just straight away snapped his hand off with this one. So this is a really lovely piece. I've got quite a few CGCs, and like this one as well. This particular one, it's not a high grade, but basically my nan said to me, "I found this in garage like this." And I was like, "Oh, lovely." And it was in terrible condition. And I was like, "Oh, I'll have that anyway. It'd be nice." And then, so what I ended up doing was I ended up tracking it down on eBay, I think it was. And we were selling it. It's a 9.6. It's literally an adaptation of the actual film itself. And I love it. It's just a great thing to have. It's just something from my childhood because me and my brother had this all the time. And there's something that's quite special that I picked up. I'm going to try not to drop everything.
Yeah. Please don't drop anything.
Have you seen one of these before?
Oh, no, I've not seen that one. Ooh,
so this is, yes. So this is the Artifact edition. So basically what they do is they've done a similar thing for Daredevil and a couple of comic book artists. But basically these are the direct prints of real.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I don't know if you can. I've opened it.
Yeah, really. Don't drop it, mate.
One sec. Oh yeah, prime example. Look at that.
Wow.
So yeah, and as you can see on the borders, this is exact. So it's just a direct scan of these, of basically what he draws it on. And there's the Batman, the Superman one from the this was the Jim Lee one. It's called, was it called Rebirth? I think it was called. Superman Rebirth. And I mean, look at that. Isn't that just stunning? Yeah,
amazing.
So I got it. I saw it in Forbidden Planet on the front cover at the front of the store, and I went in. It was like £110, and I managed.
Show us the cover of it again, Rich.
So this is the cover.
I might have to hit look for that one.
So it's a IDW, and it's called
IDW produced it.
And it's called Artifact Edition. So there are smaller versions of this as well, which I wouldn't recommend. It's this one in particular. It's just the big one. So it's absolutely stunning. And for someone who, look at that, perfect. For someone who absolutely loves this comic book art like I do, having something like this, I don't ever want to take any pieces out and get it framed and stuff. But if I ever manage to track the second one down, I will do that. But yeah, it's just perfect. Yeah, it's just absolutely perfect. It's just a real piece of comic book history for me. So yeah, those are a couple of little things that I thought to show and tell.
Stunning. Absolutely, and I love every single one of those. I'm a massive Invincible fan, so that is beautiful. But I love that book at the end there.
Yeah.
Okay, Rich. Please do. Tell the people a little bit about your channel and what you've got coming up.
So first of all, thank you so much for having me on this. It means a lot to me that I'm even asked to do stuff like this, and it's been a real pleasure talking with you, man. It's always great seeing you, hanging out with you. But regards to my channel, I'm primarily a movie focused channel. Film reviews, film vlogs. When I go out and go to Comic Cons and stuff like that, I did a Star Wars Celebration vlog, which I very much enjoy doing those. Because it's literally just like we said about it being me. And the Star Wars Celebration was really good. I really enjoyed doing that. And I've done quite a few vlogs of late. I'm going to do more and more of kind of a bit of a similar thing I talked about, like a retro ghetto thing. Like maybe if I'm going to something, I'll do a vlog doing that at Comic Con or a Thought Bubble or whatever it is. I'll do a vlog on that. Or when I'm going to the Elvis thing, I'll do a vlog about that. And I'll just basically do some of my thoughts in terms of the shows that I do a film club where I recommend a film, whether it be a recent one or a classic, and so myself, you, and Agent Silver Fox, we go live on a Tuesday evening at 9, and we talk about that film, and I throw some trivia in there, some behind the scenes drama and stuff. And I'm going to do more and more films recommendations and also TV recommendations as well. So like 1923, for example, and it's Yellowstone and things like that, where I don't think enough people, especially in England, have seen. So doing individual, like Rich recommends little series of videos, and then if I get anything new in, I'll probably do a quick video or do a short on it. So that's basically my channel. Long term, more and more film news, but at the moment with the writers' strike and the actors' strike, I can't really do very much. So I usually put those at the beginning of our film club so we can just talk about it. But there's not much to report at the moment, so I won't be doing the videos on that. But so that's basically it.
Fantastic. So lots and lots of excellent content over on Reviews with Rich. Please do go check out his channel. Over the moon that we've hit 1,000 subscribers.
Can't
but
believe
we want
it.
more. We want more. So
yes.
Keep pushing. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so straight away after tonight. A couple of people in the comments. Rich is a leg end. Absolutely is, my friend. Absolutely is. Ian, Rich forced me to buy a print of Paramount Celebration. He's a bad man.
Oh yeah, you really took some real convincing.
Yeah, I can imagine he took a lot of arm pressing, did he?
Yeah.
Von Hoot, scans of the original art are really nice. Yeah, that book was stunning.
Thank you. Yeah.
IDW did a bunch of OA reprint books. I didn't realize that, mate. I quite like the look of them.
Yeah. They're well worth getting.
Yeah. Even though it's mostly Batman collection, it's a nice, diverse, mostly Batman collection. Absolutely, there's all kinds of stuff in there of interest. GP, great show. Thank you, Bud and Pad. There is a Jim Lee.
Yes, there is. I was going to mention that one.
No, that's piqued me interesting. That's interesting. And good old Dead Man, entertaining show. Thanks. Great fun. Thank you very much, Bud. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, just to mention, I'm not doing a show tomorrow night. I'm having a night off. Saturday, I will be doing my usual Saturday Night Live starting at 9 o'clock with the usual gang, where we'll cover all geeky news, comic books, and what we've been picking up, and a bit of a focus at the end of the show. Sunday, I will be doing my comic book review show, so check that one out as well. And that's your whack. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Really do appreciate you taking time with review. Rich, it's been an absolute pleasure, my friend. Really have enjoyed talking to you tonight. Been great fun. And thank you to the chat. You guys have been superb. You've been buzzing, and you've helped support Rich's channel. So I really do appreciate you doing that.
Really appreciate it.
With that, we'll call it a night. So thank you very much, Rich. Thanks in the comments, and we'll catch you all next time. Bye.
Take care.